What's up, everybody? Welcome to Yellow Skunk Farms. This is a quick disclaimer. If you're not 21 years of age or older, please leave. This is an adult channel. Thank you very much. I was checking out Digger, and Digger had been roaming around this morning. He was all the way over here, and now look at him running. Where you going, Digger? He's a mover this morning. Most of the time he's all the way up there. Today he's down here moving around pretty well. Look at our Monstera. This thing is touching the wall over here. Our new leaf has opened up completely. This one here is just ginormous. Those over there are completely taking over the pond. And what I'm thinking we're going to have to do with this monster is I'm going to tie a string around this portion down here, and I'm going to pull it back up there. So really I'm not going to pull it too hard, but really all I'm going to do is just pull this up like that and get it up off that kind of level, so to speak. Right now it's going to grow right into the pond. We don't want that. So I'm just going to kind of pull it back, and that way it'll grow hopefully up this way instead of out that way. Right now it's gotten to the point where I can't even get it in the whole frame of the camera. If you go back and look, it wasn't even touching the edge of the pond, and now it's all the way over. Seems like every freaking day it's growing like a foot. What's up, guys? There's Cooter right here waiting on a nugget. Looks like we're gonna have to add a little bit of water to the pond. You can see that we've lost a little bit, and that's strictly because of the plants that we have going on have just taken off and are wicking up and sucking up a ton of water. We don't have any water in our hole. It's all dried up. You can see it's moist but dry. Normally when we don't have plants in the system, there's at least an inch of water down in that hole, and that is by design. This is a horizontal soil system set up, and that allows us to create that reservoir here at the bottom. So the whole system, let me show you and get down here on this level here. The whole system is on a 1-inch plane from that corner over there down to this corner. You can see that the rock kind of starts up high. That's the mountain where the water is pumped up the hill, and it comes down the mountain, enters the creek, and then you can see the slope gradually come down to this point. It's on a 1-inch slope. So the rock actually starts up and then gradually comes down on that little slope there, and then ends up down here in this corner. All that excess water that's being wicked up out of the creek into the soil beds gets wicked in, and then down. All the excess goes down into the hole, fills up the bottom with all that sand, silt, clay, rocks, pebbles, pea gravel, all that stuff is down there at the bottom, and slowly can work its way over to this corner here, filling it up. This does take days. Once it's filled, though, it pretty much stays at a certain level. Now, the more plants we have in the system, the more water is being absorbed, therefore less water in our hole. That's how we know it's working. That's how I know the design is working. When we get water in the hole, there are no plants in here. When we got plants, no water. That's telling me that water is being wicked up at the proper amounts and is being utilized by the plants in the biology and the grasses. This is one reason why we have to add water to the pond. Not only is it being evaporated, but we also are dumping that water that is being evaporated into the room back into the system with the dehumidifier. You can see I'm going to get some grass or cut that jasmine back a little bit. You can see that drip coming from that top layer there. There's a moth sitting on top there. Hopefully it's dead. You can see the drip. Maybe. There it is. So that's the dehumidifier dropping clean water. We do test the water. There is no heavy metals, no copper or anything like that in the dehu. It's a refrigerated air dehumidifier. I recommend a company that actually specifically specifies, or it's basically its whole job is to build refrigerators and dehus and that type of equipment. So I went with the company that's all they do, that's all they've ever done. And their equipment works really well. That refrigerated air, it's rated for this is a 500 square foot room. It's rated for 1,500. All we got to do is clean that filter out right there. The hose coming off the top, you see, is just redirecting that air. It is still staying in the room. So the dehumidifier air does have to stay in and circulate. So it cleans, it sucks in that air through that filter there, cleaning the air, pulling the water out, putting the water back in, and then dispersing the air, the clean air back out into the room. Same thing with the mini split. It's got the filtration, the filter pad, things we have to clean once a month. And then that pulls air, that's cleaning the air as it circulates it back through the system. We've got fans circulating air. Actually, turn this off just for our Instagram video, but click it back on. You can see I've got one down here low, one up here high. This one points into the center of the bed, giving us a good airflow there. We've got this one over here, which we need to turn back on. Put it on one for now, just while we're in here, because it's a little loud. You can hear it. It adds a little noise to the room, and that's why I don't usually keep them on when I'm videoing. But this is the airflow, normally what it looks like. You can see everything moves. Even back there in the corner. So we've got fans back there in the corner, two over here. Plus you've got the air being circulated through the dehu, you've got the air being pushed in from the mini split. So there's everywhere oh yeah, let's not forget the one by the door. So every corner of the room is circulating air. Like no matter where I stand in the room, I can feel air hitting me from right and left. It's not just hitting me on the right side of my face, it's hitting me on the right and the left, it's hitting me down below, up top. It's being circulated completely through the room as best I can, especially getting that air to not be stagnant, so to speak. So I want the water to flow and we want the air to flow. And that's the biggest thing when it comes to the environment, the temperature and that airflow or everything. You dial those in, you get those dialed in, and you're halfway home. Look at this spider. That's the culprit right there of running all these webs. And I like the web. I love the spiders because they keep the moths down. They catch the moth, but they run down this guy right here. Looks like a black widow, don't it? That looks like a young black widow. I'm not sure. Keep an eye on it though. I don't really want the black widow in here just because that's a painful one. I don't want any chances. You know what I mean? It's hard to tell. Don't see. Usually black widow is a big, solid black. Got that, got that red hourglass on the belly. But I don't know what small babies look like. I don't know what a male looks like. I believe the big black ones are the females. Usually they eat the males, from what I understand. I'll just keep an eye on that one. I don't like killing anything. What was I doing over here? Oh yeah, I was going to show you this air. See how it doesn't, it just comes out right here. So there is air coming out right here. And it is open up into the attic right there. So fresh air is coming in from the attic. And it's actually blowing that kind of all out into this little corner over here. Just keeping that air circulating over here in this corner because we've got all this mass. You know, I can't even get it all in the dam, and it's starting to, we're gonna have to, you know, to get grandma's scissors out. I can't even, oh yeah, there we go. It's tough though. Just break these off and chop and drop it right down here. Check out the ivy. The ivy is coming on. I think I want this over here though. Let this one come on up this side here. Keep the jasmine up on the rock here. We'll just bring the scissors over, or maybe I can just do this. Yep. Trimming these back a little bit. This leaf can go. Thing's hiding up underneath the jasmine. No pest damage. It's crazy. Like the last run, if any of these leaves were touching, they would get eaten. Holy cow, that smells really good. This is that Jolly Pond. Wow, it smells like a freaking, I don't know. I don't know. It's all over the place. It's kind of it's not fruity, it's potpourri almost. But the structure is, it's definitely sativa. Oh, let me go ahead and take this monster leaf right over here too. There we go. So let's see, where's the top at? The top is right here. You can see the lower branches have just come on up. And this one over here, here's the top right here. All the lowers come on up. Go ahead and take a couple of these fingers, get some light down in there. Take this down here. All those will start to come up. Just keeping good airflow going is all I'm trying to do. Taking these fingers, but I don't want to take too many leaves at one time. That will stress the plant out. what I do want to do is allow light to get down into these lowers, and the faster I do that, the longer they have to grow. I'm going to take this big one too. Allow these branches to get that light they need so that they can grow and add to our yield without having to top or have to run scrog nets or spread them out or do any kind of crazy shit. We can do this simply by strategic plucking, strategic pruning, taking fingers from the tops of these plants. Really helps get that light and let that air flow. Allows the bottom lowers to get more light, more energy to grow. And it seems to work. Like I said, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. Take what you like, leave what you don't. I don't care. This is just my personal grow. This is not for commercial use or anything like that. This is just a hobby. I love turtles and fish. I've always had fish tanks. So what I did was just kind of try and incorporate all the things I love into one system, and being able to educate myself on YouTube and learning the soil food web and meeting all the cool people in the community. That's helped me along the way. It's been super cool to be able to talk to some of the best minds when it comes to soil, not just cannabis growing, but all around soil health. Like getting and building soil health, soil nutrition. If we can make the soil healthy, everything that comes out of it is healthy. And guess what else came out of it? We did. So if we can get nutrient dense food into our bodies, most of our health issues go away. Problem is getting nutrient dense food. Getting nutrient dense food has to come basically from nutrient dense soil, which we need to create. Because we've destroyed our soils, especially in the farming industry with tillage. Tilling destroys microbiology. Microbiology is what is breaking down organic matter, which in turn is feeding nutritious food to our plants. If we kill the biology, we get no nutrition. We don't get the miners that are mining the sand and the silt and the clay. And I am not an educator. I am just telling you what I have learned in the few short years that I've been teaching myself. Kind of self-taught, you know what I mean? But realistic, say self-taught, it's YouTube is a university. You know, they call it YouTube University. It's kind of like going to school. You just got to pick and choose what you want to listen to. You're not, you know, you don't have one particular teacher pointing you in the right direction. You have to be the teacher. And so, you know, what you listen to and who you listen to matter. I wouldn't recommend getting tied down to one particular type of grow until you have figured out your way of growing. How do you want to grow? Do you want to grow with salts? Do you have the opportunity to grow naturally like I do? Do you have the access to the land? And even if you don't have access to the land, there's, you know, people like me have websites that sell organic based nutrients, natural inputs, natural farming inputs. Like I have FAA available on my website, yellowskunkfarms.com, and it's 2 years, well shit, going on 3 years old now, and the older it gets, the better it gets. Oh shit, I just slipped and put my hand right in the fucking, my foot slipped. A little splash, it hurt nobody. got some fish poo on my hand now. Look at that. Daggone foot slipped down here on this. I'm trying to reach over here, and I feel myself slipping again, so I'm not going to do it again. I'll just have to go from the other way. I want that leaf out of there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it from here now. Yeah. There we go. That thing is going to be a monster. It is huge. Not as big as the land race, but definitely a monster. Just I'm gonna take a couple of those out of there. Don't need to be there. Those fingers there. Just doing that to keep those from touching. See how I did that? Alright, just go ahead and take that one too. Bend that down, all that. Voila. This one over here, we're just going to be pulling this way. You can see what I've been doing, just kind of going this way with it. Gonna let it kind of act like the wind or storm blew it over, and let it grow sideways. This thing has not been much. This was the runt of the litter, so to speak. But it does have a good smell to it. That's why it's still here, and it's still producing, and it's still producing exudates, food for our soil biology. So just taking that light energy, photosynthesizing it into sugars, and putting it down into the soil, feeding the soil biology. And that's really what we want to do here, feeding the soil. And we feed soil with plants. Don't necessarily have to go adding amendments to it and all that crap. The more plants you have, the more exudates that the plant is producing, pushing those down through its root system into the soil, where the bacteria and the fungi and all the other stuff can take that and use it as food, energy to mine sand, silt, clay, organic matter in the soil. It's the cycle. And we got carbon. It's just the basic fundamental. It's so much more complicated than that, but I don't need to know all that. I don't need to know every little detail of what's going on in there. I'll leave that to the real smart people, like the scientists. You know, I'm not a scientist, so I'm not even going to attempt to try and be a scientist. I'm not going to try and be somebody I'm not. I'm not going to try and act smarter than I am. I'm just going to create it, steward it, and we don't have to be geniuses to steward something, to be a good caretaker. We just have to understand the basic needs of the system. And the basic needs of the system: air, light, water. That's, you know, we dial all those in. Environment. I mean, there's a lot of things, but you understand what I'm getting at here. There are basics to this that need to be dialed in. VPD, temperature, light, airflow, water flow in this particular place. But all these plants, you know, watering was the big reason why I actually got to thinking about all this, was how do I solve the water issue that I had in my 4x4? Why was I going hydrophobic in corners of the bed, and sometimes in the center of the bed? I just couldn't get the moisture dialed in. I was trying to do it by hand, not using blue mat or any type of irrigation, and that is extremely hard if you don't know what you're doing. Like, I know people that do it, they have lots of experience and they know when, where, and what, and how much to water, and they can dial it in that way. I wasn't that smart, so I could never dial it in properly, and I was trying to do it without spending money with the blue mat or anything else. So I was like, how can this be done? And I was like looking at my fish pond, and then going outside and on the property here and looking at the creek system and listening to people like Leighton Morrison and Dr. Elaine Ingham. And once Leighton started talking about, you know, sand and silt and clay, and I started learning that the basic fundamentals of soil is sand, silt, clay, organic matter. That's what makes up soil. And I was like, wait a minute. What was Leighton was like, you know, the aquatic biology is very similar to the terrestrial biology. And that aquatic biology, like, you know, on the edges of that sand, that silt, that clay on the edges of the creek, in the creek, are packed full of biology. And that's kind of where we came from, was the ocean. And a lot of people were using kelp meal and crab meal, and I just started putting two and two together, and I was just like, well, wait. I was like, this is all connected. You know, like what they say, it's all connected. So everything utilizes something. It just has to be in the right order, the right amount. Just like if you were baking a cake, if you get the recipe right, you create something beautiful. Get the recipe wrong, you create shit. But the fundamentals of building that cake are still there. You know, you tried to build the cake, you just got the recipe wrong. So this is where I came in and was just like, let's build something where we can get the recipe right and build a system that can actually wick water into soil, just like if these plants were sitting on the edge of a creek. They need to be able to tap into that resource and have a forever source of water to where we don't ever have to water the plant. All we need to do is plant beside the creek and let that creek water and this biology wick this water up. You can see that the grass, none of this was here. All of this is new. All that grass, all the grass over there, all the sand, silt, and clay has been turned into organic matter. It's all been broken down into organic worm castings, which we all know is awesome plant food. But you can see, look at it. It stays wet. Look how moist it is. I don't water it. It just stays wet. It wicks that water up on its own, and it'll wick it right up over. As long as you connect that stuff to the soil pocket, wick that water right on into the soil pocket, and voila. You get big beauties that are tapped into that creek, getting all that nutrient, all that biology. Shrimp, I mean, we got it all in there. Shrimp, clams, and we run the turtles. A lot of people are, you know, concerned about salmonella. That was one of my concerns as well. This is where lactic acid bacteria comes into play. And since I started using that, game changer. I'm telling you, absolute game changer when it comes to cleaning the creek water using an EM1 or lactic acid bacteria. I have some here. It's gone pretty much bad now. You can see the cheese still sitting on top. Once this, like, this is still good. Alright, I would still use this. When I won't use it is when it starts to really smell bad. And this will turn yellow like that. So over time, Like this has been here for about 2 weeks, maybe, yeah, probably 2 weeks now. And about the 2 week mark, you'll start to see it go bad. It'll start to stink. Time to just take all this cheese and what's left in here and throw it in the compost pile. So all that will go right in the this is leftover EM1. That too will go in the compost pile and start breaking down the compost pile. But that lab has really been a game changer. That thing is sticky as hell when it comes to keeping that water clean, bacteria free, like that salmonella. You can AI it if you don't believe me, but lactic acid bacteria will lower the pH in the water. So the pH of the water usually can hang around 8.5, 8.6. When it gets up there, we can lower that pH with just simple lab, and that lab will hinder that salmonella and kill it, all of it, keeps it from being able to spread. I'd probably add labs once every 2 weeks or so, maybe twice a month. And the water quality will show. I mean, look at the pooter is just shiny. The water quality is crystal clear. Doesn't even look like there's water in it. I mean, that's 2 feet deep right there, and it doesn't even look like it's a foot deep. It looks like Plinko. They're cleaning the wall. He does a good job of cleaning that algae off that wall, don't he? But yeah, it's remarkable how clean, and there's no filter. Everything's just free flowing through the creek. The creek catches the algae in the creek, catches all that poo, traps it. Then when the algae gets to the point where we can grab it and pull it out just like this, we just take it and flop it right into the soil, and the critters love it. It's feeding the soil basically. We just want to make sure that this doesn't build up. This is just basic maintenance that we have to do. Get rid of some of that algae buildup. Take that poo filled algae and put it under something. Just put it in the soil. Anywhere is better. Anywhere is good. And then all this excess, that's why we have this nitrate pads here. We catch it, release some of this. Nitrate pad will catch it. And then we take the nitrate pad, put it right here in the soil. Look at this, how clean that is. It did look like that. Now it looks like this. The worms will just come up at night and clean it for us. Take those worm castings and just knock them off. Yep. And then we take this one. And we'll put this one right here. And we'll watch how fast that cleans. It'll look just like this in a couple days. And we can reuse this. The shrimp everywhere in here. I mean, the shrimp are just crazy everywhere. Probably thousands of them. This does slow down the flow a little bit, but not much. Kind of flows right over top of it. A lot of that will get caught in that. And then we can just run our hand through there. That's a Chemi Pure bag. That is this right here, just full of biochar. You get it, lay it in there and let the critters go to town. It'll do the same to this. It'll clean it. Eat all that go just underneath this and see what's up. You don't think it's alive, huh? Just underneath that layer. The deeper you go, the more critters you see. Let's see if I can stand still. So that's the soil food web. It's the poop loop. You can see springtails, probably rove beetles, mostly isopods. There's an earwig right there in the corner. But these are the workhorses. These are the guys doing the work for me. I don't have to do anything. These guys do it. Nature does it for me. Funny, if you at first you look at it and it's like, oh, it's nothing there, and then you just kind of keep looking and it's like, holy shit, there's so much moving going on. There's an earwig. I mean, it'll almost start to move. Things are so tiny, hard to see. You can see that sand and silt. So these guys, these mites, these look like little wood mites or something. That's what's aerating the soil. All the isopods running around all the time. Any rock we lift up, we're gonna find life. Dairy cows, the turtles love dairy cows, so I'll grab up a couple dairy cows and throw them in there to digger, or into the pond, and let everybody go to town on those. We got plenty of them. I'm gonna take this leaf too. Take this finger. Take this finger. Kind of got a little cluster here. Just taking these centers removes that cluster, keeps that air flowing. See that? No more cluster. And I only removed 3 fingers instead of 3 leaves, whole leaves. I still have solar panel there, but we don't have the layout. Well, I'll just go ahead and take that. Well, no. We'll leave it, excuse me. Take this one. This is a male plant, if you don't know. That's why it looks like this. Got the little satchels. Those are all pollen sacs. And she will be releasing when those little sacs there open and the wind blows, whoosh, pollen gets inserted into the wind, and then the pollen will attach itself to those little white hairs. See those white hairs? Those are pollen catchers. Once that gets pollen, that's the start of the seeding process. And every bud on there will start to get seeds, which is what we want. We're not going to get a lot of smokable flower. We'll get a little smokable flower, but not a lot. Most of all this run right here is to gather seeds, future seeds. These are my strains, except for the Jolly Pond over there. Everything else is, I've determined that this one is the same as mine. Everything, I only have that one Jolly Pond over there. And that Jolly Pond is, Marmalade Grove. This was a immature seed special release gift only I got from Jolly Pond Farms. This is 2023. So this is that one over there in the corner is Cotton Candy Kush times Cotton Candy Kush Mimosa times Cough Cake Sky Cuddle Kush times GMO Garlic Cookies times Legend Orange Apricot Feminized Seed Sativa. That's that one over there, that little short stocky one. Everything else in here is mine, including the male. I say mine, but it's actually I crossed some Nerds genetics, Daddy Fat Sacks, which is blueberry. Sorry, not blue. Which is Blue Dream. Crossed Blue Dream, Santa Fe or San Diego cut, I think it is. The original cut, Blue Dream, that Nerd Genetics got, crossed with G13. And then the male that I crossed was a Yellow Hammer Genetics called Blueberry Skank, which is Blueberry OG crossed with Skunk #1 and AK-47. So we got a wide array of craziness going on, but both of those plants were freaking amazing. The male was short and stocky, just like that one over there is, and the female was long and lanky. The big old, this was more like the Daddy Fat Sacks, this one here, really tall, big, had big huge buds, especially like that one over there. That one's so yeah, pretty cool how we're going to take that male pollen and just seed everything of this, and so that way, along with everything I just read off to you on the Jolly Pond, the Blueberry Skank and the Daddy Fat Sacks will then become part of the Jolly Pond over there, and who knows what we'll get. It's a mystery, and that's what I like. We've gone a long time today. It's Friday though. So happy Friday. Appreciate everybody hanging out. We will be going live more often than usual on YouTube and Instagram. So keep an eye out. I don't know when I'll go live. I'll just come in here and go live. So I hope everybody has a great Friday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.